Welcome everybody to our fantastic webinar today about the full PH360 experience. I want to firstly welcome you all and a huge thank you for engaging with PH360, with our fantastic community. Always like to remind people of our mission, our passion, our purpose, which is to influence world health and to make a significant change in the lives of many, many others that exist in this world, so that we can all enjoy health and happiness as it should be. So thank you so much for supporting us. Really would love to always encourage you guys to share this, our amazing mission, with your friends and family that need it most. We'll have so many friends and family that are suffering from pain and disease, and there is now ways that we can help them. So we'd really encourage you to engage with that as much as you possibly need to, and we really look forward to supporting you and your friends and family on this journey. So today we've come from the last 3 webinars with Daniella Remy, who's been the VP of Research. And she's talked a lot about the why behind PH360 and really spent a lot of time going through the foods in a lot of detail, which has been some amazing questions from all of you. If you haven't already checked those out, you'll see some links that pop out throughout this webinar where you can actually engage in the live replays if you haven't had a chance to see those yet. But today we're going to talk about the how. We're going to talk about how to successfully navigate and integrate PH360 into your life. And we have the best person in the world to help us out with that today, actually. We've got our VP of Product at PH360, Rebekah Morrison, who is joining us to provide an understanding and some clarity to help us walk through the simple ways to navigate and integrate PH360, which is the world's most advanced personal health system, step by step into our life to be happy and healthy. So again, just a reminder as to why we run these webinars, and these webinars that we are running for you and for your own health benefits. And really, the aim of today, or the goal or intention, or the outcome of today, is for you to understand how you can use PH360 in a simple way and integrate it into your everyday life. And one of the ways that we find that this can be really helpful is to have an example of someone else who's actually doing it. And you guys would have engaged in the Facebook group and seen, you know, the amazing support that's out there and hearing people's trials and tribulations about how they're going through that and integrating to their life with some amazing results and amazing success. And Beck's really here today to help hold our hands and walk us through how she uses her profile in everyday life to make sure she stays healthy and happy. So Rebekah Morrison has forged a natural and joyful career through health, wellness and education over the past 20 years. Rebekah founded the Elite Massage Academy, Ultimate Massage Therapy and Elite Body Management Specialist Centres in Australia. She's the author and creator of the Exciting Health series, which I'm sure some of you may have received her amazing self-massage book if you've joined us from the Healing with the Masters series, and for which we've had amazing feedback from her book. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed that already, and if not, please take the time to check that out. Rebekah is a lover of change, practicality and simplicity, and specializes in creating products of ease to integrate seamlessly into everyday life. We're really blessed to have Beck working with us, and she's been with us from the very start with PH360. Amongst all her amazing ideas and creations at PH360, she also currently lives her ideal lifestyle by traveling to warm places, writing, creating, speaking to inspire and empower individuals to find out who they are and what's right for them to be happy and healthy. So Rebekah, welcome so much to the call today, and thank you so much for joining us. And sorry, Beck, you might just have to go and unmute yourself on your end there. Thank you for muting.
Oh, there I am. Hello. Thanks so much for having me, Matt. It's great to be here.
Excellent. Well, Beck, we've got lots to get through today, and I'd love to just jump straight in if that's okay with you. The first question I'd just love to ask, and always interesting in the interpretation from your side and your perspective, is what is PH360 to you? How would you describe PH360, or what is PH360?
Good question. For me, it's a guiding hand. It's something that will point me in the right direction so that then I can choose to be as healthy as I can be. And then when my brain and my body function in the best way possible, then it just allows me to go ahead and do what I'm here to do. So it's a simplifier for me. With all the information that's out there, it can get a little bit overwhelming. So PH360 just makes my health simple.
Awesome. And so you've obviously been using PH360 for quite some time, which is fantastic. I've got a question for you. Why?
Why? Well, I believe that every one of us is completely unique, and that we all require different things to make us healthy, and especially as we change throughout our lives. My real passion is to inspire and motivate people to be who they really are and to do what they're really here to do, so that they can find fulfillment and joy and satisfaction just in their everyday lives. And there's nothing that I see as more important to our health and our happiness than being who we are and truly understanding the value that being unique has in our everyday lives and our goals. I have a background in allied health, massage therapy for many years, running our clinics, and I've created a massage school, and I really enjoy creating educational resources for people to improve their health just in their everyday life. So the one thing I find is really important as we go through that process of maintaining a healthy body and lifestyle is that we like to, or we actually need to see tangible results. If we don't see or feel or hear about tangible results, it becomes really hard to stay motivated and to keep going. And so that's why PH360 is such a life changer and such a game changer for so many people, because you can physically do something to create a change that's specific to your health, not something that's the same for everyone. And it's not just a positive mindset that you can't actually see or feel or touch. And it's not just your diet, it's not just your lifestyle, or it's not just your exercise and your diet, but it's all the other areas of your life as well. So there's so much information and so many small things that you can integrate to make huge changes in your life. So that's why I use, and that's why I love PH360, because it's unique to me and it gives me practical, simple things I can do so that I can see those tangible results.
That's awesome, Bex, and thanks so much for sharing that. It's great to hear that from arguably the first ever user in the world of PH360. So that inspires some confidence in all of us. So let's jump straight into things here, and thanks for that introduction. I'd love to, if you'd be comfortable talking us through some of your profile and really help us understand how PH360 can be used to help us have a happy and healthy life, because sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of information in here. And so for us to be able to just have you walk us through that and how you actually live your life with PH360, I think will be really, really invaluable for so many people listening in. So if you're comfortable to jump straight into that, I'd love for you just to be able to walk us through that.
Let's do it, absolutely. So I would love to share a little bit about my experience and my profile as well with everyone who's listening. And in particular, some of the things that I've found really helpful that I've incorporated into my life. I'm not the scientist, so I can't tell you the ins and outs of why your insights have come up for you, but I am pretty good with the how. So how to understand what it's telling you and how to incorporate that into your own life. Now, I know we've had so much fun with Daniella on the food webinars. She is so awesome to listen to. There is always something new to learn. She is such a guru. So I'm thinking we might come back to the food section at the end, because I really want to have a look at some of the other ones as well, if that's okay. That
sounds great. And I think just on that too, Beck, we might, for those that are listening in now, if you haven't had a chance to check out the webinars so far from the calls with Daniella, I think there should be a link that comes up at some stage pretty soon in your browser there, and you can click on that. It'll open up a new tab in your browser, and you can watch that later. So you can just open that up and press pause if it starts to play, and you can come back to our conversation. So thanks for that, Beck. Sorry for interrupting, and yeah, please enlighten us.
Excellent. It's fine. Those webinars have been fantastic. So I'd say I definitely recommend people to have a look at those. They've been great. So where I really want to start is actually in the mind section. And I also want to say as well that the insights that PH360 gives you, there's no good or bad. They just are. So it's actually what you do with the knowledge that helps to create that, I suppose, that wealth of health and happiness in your own life. So in the mind section, now you've probably come across all of these insights about your mind, and they are actually what your neurotransmitters and your hormones are saying about you at this point in time. So they can just look like some statement, and you might be thinking, well, how on earth am I going to integrate that into my life? Well, it's going to be different for everyone, of course, but I find that it makes a little more sense if you can actually, if you can give an example or hear an example or two. So here we go. Actually, first of all, before we get to what's on the screen there, I just wanted to say my mind results, my mind insights have changed over time as my body has changed as well, and as all my hormones and everything do what they do. And so I'd like to share a little experience with you from a previous insight that I had that I found so funny. I had an insight that said I might feel physical discomfort if something was categorized incorrectly, like if a fish was called a vegetable. And so I thought, oh, yeah, I don't really understand that one. And it wasn't until one day in Disneyland where I was walking around Disneyland. I love Disneyland, by the way. But I was walking around Disneyland and I saw all these people with the Minnie Mouse ears, or the mouse ears on their heads on the headband. And it's Disneyland, so that's what happens. But then I saw these ones that had mouse ears, and they had bits of the Little Mermaid in between the mouse ears. And I thought, well, that's strange. And then I saw ones with bits of Alice in Wonderland between the mouse ears as well. And I was thinking, why would you do that? Minnie Mouse was a mouse, and then the Little Mermaid was a fish, or a mermaid at least. And Alice in Wonderland had nothing to do with mice. So why would you make those things? Why would you buy one of those? Why would you even wear one of those headbands?
Right.
And so I know there's probably a few listeners out there thinking, well, because it's great. And it wasn't until halfway through the day when I realized, oh, that's my brain, and that's how my brain works. I like to categorize things correctly. And if I don't have them categorized correctly, then I get a little bit uncomfortable with things. So I was putting some stress on myself, or I was finding some stress about these things that weren't categorized properly. And it wasn't until I realized that's just the way that my brain works and other people's brains work differently that I could say, oh, and have a little chuckle to myself and think, it doesn't actually matter. It's just different. So that was a result or an insight that I had in my mind section previously, and that one doesn't show up for me anymore. So my body has changed and my hormones, my neurotransmitters are doing different things. But one insight that I have at the moment, you'll see on the screen there, it says, I may have a tendency to have higher progesterone conversion, which may make me more aware of people's opinions about me. And yes, totally, that is totally right. And do you know what? Just looking at that and having that in front of me, I get a bit of a sigh of relief every time I see that. In the past, when I'd become sensitive to other people's opinions, I'd get really angry and annoyed with myself. And I'd be thinking, why do I even care so much about this? And I should just toughen up. And I'd get annoyed with my reaction to my natural reaction, if that makes sense. And so having this sentence in front of me now, it doesn't stop me from being sensitive towards other people's opinions, but it does empower me to recognize that it's happening. So now when I feel that way, I can have a little chuckle to myself and I can think, oh, that's just my progesterone conversion happening again. Thanks for doing your job, chemicals. I can understand why I'm feeling like this now. And I know there's actually something happening in my body that makes me feel this way. And that's okay. And it's normal for me. And so once I realize that, then I can just get on with the rest of my day. So I have found there is so much less stress when I understand what is actually happening in my body, why things are happening, and if I can recognize that things are happening at that point in time when they are doing it, then so much less stress and just accepting or understanding of my own natural reaction to a situation.
That's really, really powerful, Beck. And I think if all of us can even just take a little bit of a lesson out of that and harness ourselves and our own experiences at time, then things start to seem a lot easier. And as you say, that stress is sometimes we get caught up in the moment and get caught up in what's happening in the finite details. But if you can take a step back, understand a bigger perspective, then things do certainly start to become a lot less stressful, a lot more manageable. And sometimes the little things that seem like a big deal at the time aren't so much of a big deal. And it's amazing that science can now measure that and can now even predict these situations and help give you some insights. And that's really what the power of PH360 does here, is help you understand about how you may tend to react, or how some of the chemicals may produce reactions or even emotions, sometimes thoughts and behaviors into who you are at that particular point in time. And as you've suggested, or as you've shown us there, that you used to have things that came up in your profile, and now your reactions are different to what they used to be, and now that doesn't show up for you, which is it means that you've actually changed. You've changed patterns, and that's how amazing the insights for PH360 are. So thanks for sharing that. That's fantastic. Tell us a little bit more. Have you got some other things in your mind section that we can delve into?
We can delve into, absolutely. If we have a look, I have another insight here, and it's talking about prolonged intense stress, that it may result in disturbances involving bladder functions and other things going on in my body. The rest of this, there's some really, really exciting information in here for me. The next part of this insight says, admitting to failure or losing a competition could cause higher stress in my body. influencing the way steroid hormones and dopamine are produced. The next part of the sentence, or the next part of the insight, says, my natural sense of purposefulness should be channeled in moments of complete dedication to a goal, followed by short but deep rest to control fatigue. And then it goes on to say, occasionally, steam baths or saunas or exposure to warmer temperatures might help reduce muscle tension. So there is so much good information for me to incorporate in here. So let's just start with the admitting the failures. Oh, okay. I used to be really competitive, very, very competitive. Anyone who knows me knows that I hate to lose. But I fail at things every day. Now, I know having to admit to failure isn't actually very healthy for me. But it still happens all the time. So how do I get around that? Well, this was a really good one for perspective. And it's not just there are no failures, only lessons learned, you know, the saying that goes around. So I came up with a couple of different things that I have incorporated into my life so that I make sure that I admit a failure in a good way and it actually becomes a success. So when I admit a failure, then I have accomplished a task. So I've succeeded in admitting something that I never would have before. So that's the first way that I see things. The second way I see it is to know that I've learned a way that doesn't work, and so I can avoid it next time, so I won't fail next time. And then the third change in my perspective has really been that I'm actually part of that bigger team. And like you were just saying a moment ago, Matt, my everyday failures, they're actually so insignificant in the bigger picture that wasting time and energy thinking about them is just pointless. So all I need to do is incorporate that learning and then move on. So knowing that it's not healthy for me to do something, it helps me to be able to change my perspective. Now, the second part of this is it tells me that I'm excellent when I'm focused and with a purpose. And you know what? I am incredibly productive and nothing else matters at all until I achieve a goal. That is exactly the way that I work best. And I'm totally in flow when I'm doing that. And for me to know that having a big rest once that goal is completed before I start the next goal, it just makes me even more productive and it helps me achieve what I set out to achieve. So implementing this into everyday life, it's actually super easy for me. The things that require the detail and my focus, I'll work on them in a place that is totally uninterrupted. And then once that is done, I can socialize and I can relax and I can get all the other not so focused tasks completed as well. So I arrange my day with my mornings being totally consumed in the things that I do. And then when it hits about 3 o'clock, I take a bit of a break. And I stop being a hermit and I relax a little until I feel like I've rejuvenated enough. And then I go back into my uninterrupted space again. Now for me, I know that working from home is the most productive thing for me to do. So I make sure I incorporate that. Otherwise, I would feel like I'd never get anything done. And then the third part of this section is really important. It's so good to be able to know that I can rejuvenate myself with a big sleep and being a bit social. I know here as well that I can have steam baths or saunas or warm temperatures that are going to be great for me to relax. So if I know I'm going to have a stressful week where I've got a big project that needs to be done, then I'm going to pencil in a hot tub or a bath or a trip to the steam room at the end of it as well, just to make sure that I really enhance that rejuvenation.
That's just such an amazing way to interpret the information there, Bex. And I think really just for the listeners, you know, whether you're listening in live right now, whether you're listening to a replay, just to be able to go through the information and really understand what that means for your life. You can see Bex just gone through amazing insights. You've picked out, you know, 3 big focus points there. You know, one simple phrase in the mind section that you can really interpret and change your whole outlook on your way you go about life, and even integrate some of those things like you talk about with the steam bath or a sauna, or even just some warmer temperatures, to really change the state of your mind and your mood, which is really phenomenal. Have you got one more thing, Beck, you can show us on your mind? Because I find the mind just, you know, the most fascinating area, and I talk a lot about future health and the fact that the mind is certainly going to be the future of health because it has the capacity to control and direct the rest of our body. This is just such an amazingly powerful area to be included in, and it's really great that you can help us harness the power of these insights. So yeah, is there sort of 1 or 2 more things you might be able to take us through as we go back?
Absolutely. Yep, I've got one more that I really want to share. And it's just a simple one. And I think if we have a look in my other bit of my mind section, it might be in orange. Oh, no, yep, it was in orange. There we go. It says that I may prefer to have new information and data presented in a progressive manner, following some order. Yes, absolutely. If I don't have it in that progressive manner, following some order, then I actually have no idea what's going on. So when I learn, or when I need to find out some information, it needs to be specific and it needs to be in the order that I need to know it as well. So what I do is I make sure that my intention is clear before I begin. So what do I want to learn? What do I want to know? And once I have that, then I can go ahead and gather that information. Of course, knowing that I need to know in this, progressive manner with the order, it also allows me to be patient with myself. So if I don't understand at the very beginning, instead of getting frustrated or annoyed about not understanding it straight away, I can just be patient and realize that this is the way that I learn things best. And sometimes when things are presented in a roundabout kind of a way, I need to take it all in first and then present that information to myself in that progressive and orderly manner before I can completely understand the concept. So when I understand what's going on, then I can do what I need to do with that information. Otherwise, I can't use the information and it's a waste of everyone's time, basically. So now that I know, or when I know that it needs to be progressive and follow some order, then I can go into that learning situation or that information gathering situation and make it so. And this mind, the insights I've just been through from my mind section there, actually can then translate into other areas of my life. Absolutely. The really good parallel that I find is in the fitness section, because I've just jumped straight to the fitness section. And in my fitness plan, PH360 says that I should engage my mind as well as my body, like Tai Chi and things like that. But what really gets me going for my fitness are things that have so much physical coordination that they are so complicated, and my mind is working so hard that my body just does whatever it does to catch up, and I don't even realize I'm getting a workout. I love it. So things like step aerobics, where they're really quick, and if you mess up, you have to try and catch up again. But more importantly, why I like this type of classes or these types of exercises is because they're stimulating my brain to work in its natural state. So I'm completely in flow when I'm in a class like a step aerobics class. For example, well, just to explain that a little bit, the mind insights that we've just been through, if you think of me standing in that step aerobics class, I'm learning in a progressive manner, I'm following order, I have complete dedication to following the goal for a short period of time, which is that 45-minute class. And I'm in total competition with myself just to get the steps right before the instructor moves on or before the class finishes. So when you find the types of exercises that work well for you, it's actually no longer exercise, it's total playtime. And PH360 also tells me that I have bursts of energy, but I can tire quickly. Now, this is all in my fitness plan. And it helps me to confirm that even when all my friends are just about to go on that 10K run through the park and I'm feeling like I really don't want to go for a 10K run, do you know what? It's okay. Because not wanting to do that is actually right for me. It's best for my body if I don't. I can go for a short hike and I can feel totally refreshed, and it's actually good for me. So my insights help me to choose what is right for me so that I can be healthy, not having to please everyone else.
That's such fantastic insights there, Bex. And sorry, I was talking on mute before, so you just jumped straight through the next section, but I think it flowed in really quite well. So I'm sure that all the listeners at home live and watching the replay followed through on that anyway. And it's such a really refreshing perspective to really understand what this means for us and how we can interpret it. And I just wanted to, again, for those listening live or those watching at home, if you're struggling with how to interpret this, if you're not really sure on exactly what that means for you and how to make this change, we do have health coaching available for this very, very reason. And you might see up on your screens, there'll be a pop in there where you can actually find out more about health coaching that's available. And the reason why this service is there is because there is sometimes quite a difficult obstacle for some people to change their behavior. when you've been in an old pattern for quite a long time, sometimes it is hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And so to have someone there to help either give you some more information, to help you understand what needs to be going on, or some changes that need to be made, or even just to help inspire you and motivate you and help keep yourself accountable. It's really such a great way to learn. So you can go ahead and click on Learn More there, or click on the link in your replay. That'll actually just open up that tab next door, and you can look at that in a later time if you are interested in health coaching. And that's one thing that would be really, really helpful. I also just want to mention too, we do have a couple of spots left in our personal health retreat that we're going to be running in Bali. And again, you should see something come up on your screen, either a link or a pop-up there. You can go and click on Find Out More to open that up in a new tab. This is where we're going to be running an absolutely amazing experience for 7 nights for those who are in a state that they do need some extra care and attention with their health, if it's a preventative nature, or if it's something that you do have some states of disease or health concerns. This is where we can really get a lot of hands-on, specific one-on-one time with a whole team of healers, from everything from body work, aromatherapy, musculoskeletal therapists, through to nurses, medical review, and personal healing with energy medicines, with spiritual healings, a number of treatments, one-on-one treatments per day, personalized meal plans, every single meal, activity levels that are right for you, whether you're doing power sessions on the beach or whether you're just doing some breathing exercises and Tai Chi. Depending on what level you're at, this is really something that's aimed specifically at transforming your health. And this is a transformational retreat, health and healing retreat. I'll personally be doing treatments on people each and every day that are there. And I really encourage you guys, if you're in that position, to check this out and find out some more. So you can go ahead and click on the link to find out more if you're listening live, or click on the link in the replay that will show up too. So Beck, let's jump back into this. Let's go through the place section. I know that's one that comes up next. Can you give us some insights about your place section and what that actually means to you and how that looks to you?
I totally can. Place has to be my favorite section in PH360. And the simple reason, because I didn't actually realize before how much of a difference it could make, the environment that you're in. So one of my place insights says, I think it's on the top right there that you can see on the screen, I may benefit from having some exposure to beauty, and I might thrive in places that are historical or have entertainment, restaurants, and a lively atmosphere. This is incredibly true. A great example of this was, I think it was about a year ago or a year and a half ago, when I was traveling from Vienna in Austria down to Siena in Italy. I was on the way to a little town in Tuscany, and I was stopping in Siena on the way through, and I didn't know anything about Siena before I got there. It was just where the train stopped and I could hire a car. And so I got to Siena and I took my little 100-meter taxi trip to the hotel, and then I checked in and thought, okay, I'm just going to go and have a look at what Siena actually is, because I've never heard of it. So I went out from the hotel and I could not believe it was absolutely magical. It was vibrant. There were people everywhere, but I was surrounded in hundreds of years of history with so much that had actually happened within those walls. It was just amazing. It just gave me such a rush, and I absolutely loved it. And I hadn't actually realized that the place that we're in has so much impact on our everyday lives. Now, I find that if I don't have some exposure to history or beautiful things, then I actually do get a little bit dismayed, just generally. So when I travel, I always try to add something historical to the agenda, even if it's just the museum or the art gallery, just to give me a bit of a fix. But I don't necessarily have to live within walking distance of ancient Rome to have this fulfilled. When I'm at home, I can do things like read a novel, or I can watch a period movie, or I can watch something from the History Channel, or visit a beautiful garden, or go and view some beautiful scenery. I can do all of that to get the same sort of fix just when I'm at home as well.
Fantastic. And it's just such a great reflection onto who we truly are and how powerful PH360 is to be able to give us these insights in a lot of specific detail. It's not just a general horoscope type recommendation. There's a lot of specific detail here that's different for everyone. And Beck, if you wouldn't mind just going through a few different areas of your place section here, which really just is our environment, our indoor environment and our outdoor environment. that can help people understand a bit more of how they can integrate this in their life as well?
Absolutely. Like I said, this is my favorite page, so I could talk about it all day. I've got another insight that says, indoors, I may prefer rooms that do not have too many lights and sounds and which soothe my senses. And absolutely true again. So what do? Well, I use carpets, or I use rugs. I use soft furnishings with soft blankets or pillows or upholstery. I'll use lamps instead of harsh lighting, or even candles. And I really don't like a lot of noise, so often I'll use some soothing meditation music in the background just to cover up the noises that I don't want to hear. And I feel so much better in this environment. And the awesome thing is that these are just little things that I can definitely change easily every day or every place I go to. So if I go and stay in a hotel, I can still take my meditation music. If I go and have dinner with friends, we can have a candlelit dinner. I can use it in every area of my life.
That's
and
great.
Another, sorry, go.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Please continue.
Another insight you can see on that I have on there as well is that outdoors I may prefer a warm, stable temperature. It's just part of the insight that says community there. And that is so absolutely true. I just cannot abide the cold. If it's cold, I can't think straight. I generally get really quite narky and uncomfortable. I'm totally unproductive, which is, as we know, is not good for the chemicals in my brain at all. So what do? I always have to wear layers and layers of clothing when I go to the office. I turn the aircon off wherever I can. I'll rug up in blankets at home. I'll sit in the sun. But most importantly for me is that I am so grateful that I actually have the opportunity to go and live where it's warm or it's hot or it's humid as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks again for sharing that, Beck. And I think a lot of questions that do come in, some people that we work with in a more of a medical capacity, we actually advise people to significantly change their location. Sometimes they need to actually physically move states or countries in severe cases if it's identified that their environment is the key to their health. Sometimes changing foods and changing social circumstances and lots of other things aren't enough to actually influence someone's health. And some of the questions that we get in from people, we've had some fantastic questions come through asking about, how do I actually change? If I can't physically move location, how do I change? And of course, quite often that we're not in the capacity, we don't have the capacity to be able to do that. And so this indoor section is such an amazing way that you can really understand how you can create the environment in a very close capacity to how you can influence your own health. And you can do so many different things indoors to change the current climate, the temperature, the surroundings, things that you need to keep in mind, like dust and mold and all these sorts of things that influence our health. We don't often consider even the lighting and air conditioning and dark spaces and dark rooms versus open doors and windows with natural light. There's just so many things that we can actually do for our health, even from an indoor perspective, even if we're not living in the ideal environment for us externally. So thank you for sharing lots of that, Beck. That's great. Have you got some more for us? I know you've got lots of things there.
What I want to go on to next is the places to avoid. Now, you can see on mine where it says temperature fluctuations there. The beginning of that is that I may be particularly sensitive to cold climates and temperature fluctuations from hot to cold. Yep, I don't like the cold at all. But when I look closer into this, or if I read more into this insight, it actually tells me that it may be best to avoid exposure to cold water, especially around my lower back, abdomen, and lower legs, or lower limbs, sorry. And symptoms I may encounter because of exposure to the cold could be cold hands and feet, numbness in hands and feet, and intense fatigue. Now, this one I find actually really helpful when I'm flying, especially on long-haul flights. And even though it says it might be best to avoid exposure to cold water around my lower back, abdomen, and lower limbs, I find that if I wrap my lower back and my legs up in a nice blanket or a soft jacket when I'm flying, I actually totally enjoy the flight so much more. It's such an easy little thing to implement, but it makes such a difference to something that I previously hadn't enjoyed so much at all. And avoiding public transport, where it says public transport here, I just want to explain this one because sometimes it doesn't make sense to some people. Mine is in August and September. This is actually to do with the time of year that your immune function is at its lowest. So preventative measures to take things or preventative measures to take are things like avoiding places with high volumes of people where contagions can spread easily. So avoiding that public transport when people are coughing and spreading their germs everywhere. And of course, with these places to avoid, if you actually can't avoid these situations, then just make sure you're extra good with the other areas of your life. The ones that PH360 can balance. So everything else in your life that PH360 can balance. And then that will give your body the best body that you could possibly have to be able to support you through those things that you can't actually change.
Thanks for actually taking the time to go through that, Bex, because that is an interesting area. And again, the power behind this is very, very phenomenal. And we have a lot of people that will suggest that, oh, I didn't even realize, but yeah, you're right, I do get sick at that time of year if I do get sick. And so to take note of that is such a powerful thing. And again, these are just insights personalized for you that are very, very specific to you about the time of year that your immune system may be lowest, and can really help you make some good decisions in your life. And this is, again, the whole aim of this webinar is to really help you understand how you can integrate this information to change your life, to change your health. So thank you, Beck. And there's an area down through there we talk about vacations, and I think even lower down that we've got some power hour things. So if you're able to spend just a quick bit of time on that for people, I'm sure that would be fascinating.
Totally. The best time to vacation, we've talked about the time of year when your immune system is generally going to be a little bit lower. So the best time to vacation is actually that time of year when your body is going to respond best to rejuvenation. So for me, it says that the last days of December and in a hot, humid spa or sauna that I should have my vacation. And so if I know that I need to take a break at the last part of the year, then I can plan that now. And even if that's not possible for me to do so, I'm going to make sure that I can get some sort of recuperation or rejuvenation happening at that time. So I might get myself a massage or take a day off to have, just so that I can spoil myself completely and do some things that I really love to do, like go to the museum or go to the spa. I can get some acupuncture or some other sort of treatments that are preventative and balancing in nature. And that will help me make the most of this time of the year when my body actually really responds well to rejuvenating things. So it's not actually saying you have to have this vacation now. It's actually saying, hey, take care of yourself at this time of the year, because if you do, you'll respond really well to that, and then you'll be healthier and happier for the rest of the year as well.
Well, that's some great advice. And I think if we can all have a nice chat to our bosses early in advance, or if you're your own boss, then have a nice chat to yourself and see if that's possible. If you're retired, then make some plans around that, because it really can help rejuvenate so much of you and so much of your cells in your body to really keep that smile on your face and the smile on your cells inside, which is true health. So, and Beck, in the power hour, I know there's been a lot of questions about the power hour. So would you be able to help us understand? And we have just on the power hour section, we had quite a number of questions earlier today in the Hangouts with Jules. And for those of you who aren't aware of the Hangouts with Jules so far, we've got a great way for people to actually do some small group coaching, where you can actually come and spend some time in a small group coaching scenario. We mentioned before the personal health coaching that's for you specific one-on-one. We've actually got our amazing Jules who's doing some Hangouts with you guys that will be at a small cost in the future. But for now, for the next 6 weeks, this is 100% free. So please take advantage of that. Again, you click on the link, it'll open up a new tab for you to join. You can join for free and really enjoy the small group coaching, where you can find out so much more details. You can engage, you can ask questions, and get all your specifics answered as you go. So encourage you guys to check out the Hangouts with Jules for that extra service and extra smile that we like to bring as much as we can. And on that note, Bex, just coming back to the power hour, sorry. So I'm just giving that heads up, because the power hour is such an interest for so many different people. So I'd love for you just to talk us through that briefly if you can.
Totally, I can talk you through mine. Mine says that my body's gastrointestinal regulation may occur between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m, with digestive function decreasing after 11:30 p.m. Avoiding acute stress during this time of the day may help to prevent gastrointestinal imbalances. Moreover, this means I may do best not consuming food late at night. This may help me prevent gastric stasis, which can cause insomnia and headaches upon waking. I may also benefit from avoiding stimulants like coffee or tea in the evening, which might inhibit my parasympathetic function. So basically, in a nutshell, this tells me not to get stressed between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m, don't eat late, and don't have stimulants late at night. Because if I do, I'm probably going to find some problems with my digestion or have some headaches when I wake up. And funnily enough, that is totally true. When I do eat late, which sometimes happens because sometimes I just can't avoid it, I don't feel as refreshed. I don't feel as rested, and I do tend to have a headache when I wake up. It's actually crazily accurate. So how do I make it happen? How do I put that into my life? Well, the easy things that I do are that I start preparing early for my meals, or I eat early. I love to eat at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock for dinner. I just love it. And so if I'm going out to dinner with other people, then I will negotiate the earliest time possible that everyone can handle. Or sometimes I just don't even wait for others for dinner if I don't need to. I always explain why, and they understand. So I find that really helps as well. If you actually explain the reason why you're doing something with friends or with family, then they can understand, and they can probably empathize. They don't want to have headaches when they wake up in the morning either. So yeah. But if you can't avoid doing something that's less than perfect during your power hour, so shift workers, for example, it might be something you want to take into consideration in the long term. But for now, like I was saying before, if you concentrate on the other areas of your PH360, the ones that you can change or tweak to help support your body, then that will be giving your body the best possible opportunity to deal with those stresses that you can't change.
That's excellent, Bex, and thanks for the insight. And again, this is just such an amazing webinar. I hope you guys are really enjoying this. Please pop some comments in to let us know how Bex is going and if this is really helpful for you, because it really is just such a great way to see what the results are and interpret them. Bex, you do such a great job of just saying, cool, well, that's what it says, and this is what it means for my life. This is how I can live my life with these insights to actually live healthy. It's amazing the power when you can actually take that and interpret that for your life, and it's really, really great to see. Just a quick mention too, for any health professionals that are listening in, again, either live or to the replay, we have a course that we're running this weekend in the US actually, and you'll see a little link that comes up about that in your screen, or you'll see the link in the replay that's talking about that. If you watch this replay after the session's gone, we do have a recording that's available for you. So go ahead and click on the register now link. That'll pop up a tab in your window that you can check that out more for the health professionals. This is a coaching course for PH360, and we have so many requests from health professionals about how can I use this with my clients? How can I continue to improve the health that exists? The great work that I do, how can I add more value to what actually exists in the way I practice? And so you'll see just another link there for those that can't attend the course, because it is coming up this weekend, and it is something that for those that need to travel, we actually have a recording. It's a full 2 days, a full weekend course where we're going to be recording. And if you want to get a copy of that, we're going to do a full high def uncut video recording for only $97. The course costs $697. For only $97, you can have all the information, all the access to that, which we're going to go into the depths of all the science, all the medicine behind PH360, really get down the nitty gritty as to how the program actually works, the insights that are there, and how to integrate that into your life in a much more detailed way, especially if you've got clients that you're working with, health professionals that attend, anything from physical therapists, osteopaths, chiropractors. We even have dentists, massage therapists, healers, the whole spectrum that are finding so much amazing insight that they can offer their clients. And in addition, because often we kind of get caught up in our one expertise, and there's so many things that contribute towards health, as we're hopefully finding out from this webinar with Bex. It's about the whole you. It's not just about the food you eat, or it's not just about the state of your musculoskeletal system in your body. If you've got back pain, the research shows us that over 65% of low back pain has a high correlation with gastrointestinal issues. So if you have back pain and you haven't considered the food you eat, and you're just getting just hands-on treatment, you're missing a lot of the important things that are going to contribute towards your health. And this is in reverse, and so many other factors. If you're extremely stressed, and even if you're eating healthy and you're in great circumstances, if you're stressed, that can have a significant effect on your health. So it's so important to understand the whole picture and the epigenetics, which is what PH360 brings to help you understand the full health cycle and how holistic that view really is. So again, go ahead and click on those links if you're interested. This is for health professionals, but if you are someone who's very interested and intrigued, if you do a lot of reading and you're very progressive in knowing a lot of information that's out there, then feel free to click on that link and check that out. And we'll keep moving on. Beck, again, sorry to interrupt your amazing things, but I just thought it'd be important to share that with people who always just want to find out and engage a little bit more in what they can use PH360 for and how can they help more people, which is what we're all about. So if we actually on that, sorry to interrupt.
No, I was going to say, I totally agree. Coming from a health background, there are so many things that affect your clients' lives that are not just right there in front of you at the time when you're seeing them. So PH360 is an incredible tool to help improve lives. Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you. And just to keep on moving, I'd love to jump into the social section. Could you maybe just give us some insights? Again, thanks for sharing your profile with us too. I think all the listeners are going to get to know you quite well from your profile, so you can understand. I'm sure you've all seen Bex floating through the Facebook group. If you haven't been on the Facebook group yet or haven't joined the Facebook group, it's a private group. It's a members only group. So it's there for us to support and inspire you on your journey. So please join that. The information doesn't go anywhere apart from our group. It is a private members only group, and it's there for you. So you'll see Bex floating around. She's absolutely amazing with the support she's giving you. Again, if you've been privy to that, feel free to pop a message in saying thanks to Beck, or you can share with others how amazing that support is that's there for you. So please join the PH360 Facebook group if you haven't already, and you will see Beck's smiling face floating around there and helping you guys out with your trouble. So Bex, jump into the social. Tell us about your social circumstances and how we can integrate the insights to change our life or to help us live a happier life.
My social nutshell, it actually says that I may come across as sincere, just, and honourable, and my word and my honour may be important components of my sense of well-being. So for me, knowing that it's not just me wanting to be sincere and honourable, knowing that it will actually have a negative effect if I'm not, then it leads me to make sure that I remain that way as much as possible, which is great to know. It's not just me thinking, oh yes, I should be honourable and sincere today. It's actually the way that I am and the way that I need to be so that I maintain who I am, I suppose. What you can't see on the screen right now is that it also says I may be perceived as vibrant, but I can be gloomy if I'm not expressing my feelings fully. So people who know me know straight away when I have something on my mind. So if I know that I can be perceived this way, then I can kind of head that off at the pass with the gloominess. So what can I do? Firstly, I can express myself fully and get back to being vibrant. Secondly, I can limit my social activity while I've got things on my mind until my thoughts are together and I've expressed myself fully. And thirdly, I have another option there. I can actually let people know that I've got something on my mind. So when I understand what is happening and why, then I am empowered to change the conversation. Another insight I have is that my adrenal hormones may make me less capable of interpreting other people's points of view. And combined with an excitable yet somewhat stubborn temperament, I may sometimes get into conflicts with others. I love that one. So yes, there's a hormone that makes me less capable of interpreting someone else's point of view. It's not a failure. It's great. So now that I know this, I can actually easily just ask people to clarify what they mean, so I don't have to interpret it all. So I don't have to put myself through the stress of not being able to interpret something. I can just ask them to clarify and away we go. Also on that one, knowing that I can be a little bit stubborn sometimes, a good tip or a good thing that I use is to have a break in the conversation. And if I know I'm naturally a little bit excitable and somewhat stubborn, then if I recognize that that is happening, if I put a break in the conversation, I might change the subject, or I might just ask to continue the conversation a little bit later because I'll have a better perspective then. Even if it's just a few minutes, then at least it gives me time to calm down and avoid conflicts. And again, if I know what's happening in my body, if I know how I naturally react to things, then I am empowered to change that conversation.
That's excellent, Beck, and that's such great insights as you've provided for the whole webinar here, actually, for people that you just take so much. I love just the way that you take so much out of the insights and can really use that. And I really encourage everybody listening to spend some more time actually looking at your PH360 and considering how does that actually apply to my life, or how could I actually take these amazing insights and actually change my life or create change in my life. because that's what this information is here for you. And I guess, you know, PH360 is really aimed at delivering this to you in a very easy to use and easy to access platform. Of course, as we mentioned before, you can have a health coach that will help you actually go through and hold your hand and walk through implementation into your life. However, this is just, if you spend some time with it, it really is quite intuitive and quite easy to pick up. And again, of course, we've got the Facebook group that you can engage with and ask some more questions. We've got great support with support@ph360.me with any questions. We've got Hangouts with Jules that are free. So we're really trying to provide such a great support experience and network for you guys in whatever it is that you need. So thanks, Beck, for sharing that again. And just moving through PH360, because there's so much to it, can we jump to career? And can you tell us a little bit about career? And I guess career is really a word that we've chosen to use so that people can have something tangible. Really refers to a lot more to do with our natural talents and our hobbies and things that we do with our time. So not necessarily, we don't have to have a job, we don't have to have a career for this section. It really just helps us give you insight as to what we naturally do well and our sort of flow state. So would you be able to talk a little bit about career section and maybe even go through a few of your insights and how we can interpret that to help make a positive change in our life?
Absolutely. I just so wish that everyone would just do what comes naturally to them and then concentrate on their natural talents and then connect with someone who loves to do what you hate. And then can you just imagine how much happier the whole world would be and healthier as well if we all loved our jobs? I know it's sometimes not easy or not even possible to just up and quit your work and go and do what you want to do, but there are some simple things that you can do to incorporate more of your natural talents into your work or your retirement or your everyday life. I am so grateful to be doing something that I not only enjoy, but I find completely fulfilling as my work or as my career. And another thing is that I've actually always loved my work, no matter what I did. Whether it was in hospitality or in beauty or in education or healthcare, I've always really enjoyed actually going to work. One of the areas that, one of my insights that I find was really interesting, or that is really interesting, is it says that when I get excited, others might perceive me as impatient and quick-tempered. This may cause problems in the workplace. So taking a moment to be aware of others' perceptions of me might help smooth things out. And this actually happened the other day again. I went from being totally in my flow and getting so much done into a completely different environment that was really relaxed and just cruising through the day and just getting things done in their own way. And as soon as I started speaking, the very first look that I got was, uh-oh, have I done something wrong? And then I thought, oh, okay, all right. I can understand, I suppose, how I could be perceived as being impatient and quick-tempered because I had been just on a complete roll going 100 miles an hour for the last 8 hours and actually having a really, really good day. But for me to know that I can be perceived like that from someone else's point of view, it really just reminds me to explain that to people. And instead of wondering why they aren't as excited that I am, or wondering why they're suddenly defensive or a little bit put out, it just helps me to go ahead and recognize how I might be being perceived by other people. So then I can go and address that.
Fantastic. Sorry, Beck.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, please continue. This is just such great information. Please keep going.
Very cool. Another one of my insights says a little bit, and then it says, and I may benefit from having creative components in my job. And so I think that every job that I've ever done, I have found a way to be creative. I don't have to be an artist. All I need to do is find some part of my job where I can be creative. And so in education, I would create training programs or whole courses and training tools to make it all really fun. In beauty, I would, of course, create beautiful works of art in makeup, but also different ways to display things or products on the shelf. In hospitality, I would present a slice of cake beautifully on the plate, or a cocktail with a beautiful garnish on the glass. And now I get to create videos and books and all sorts of things to help people in their lives. So, like I said, I am super grateful that I'm unbelievably grateful that I can do the job that I do now. And finding those little bits of creativity in every part of the job, or every part of a job that I have done previously, has really made me enjoy that job, no matter if it was something that was exactly what I wanted to do with my life, or if it was just something that was just a job to get me through studying. As long as I found something or some way to implement that creative side, then I actually really enjoyed it. And another one I want to have a look at is just, I might not like to deal with the nitty-gritty details of daily life. And that is so true. But unfortunately, they still need to be done. So if I can't find someone else to do them for me, I make sure that I either do them creatively so that it feels like something fun, or I create a reward for myself afterwards. So I reward myself after I've done them. So if it's something like organizing appointments in the calendar to fit everything in, it's the nitty-gritty details of everyday life. I mean, one thing that's good is that my calendar is it's like a rainbow. There's so many different colors in it. But I will schedule this nitty-gritty part into my day right before I can get really focused on a task. So that way I complete that small task and then I have something to look forward to afterwards. So incorporating PH360 insights, it just so allows me to reduce so many of the stresses that were affecting my body, whether they were internal or external. And I just find myself so much more in flow and so much more at ease with everything in life. It's actually quite amazing.
I love it. And I really love how you can just take the positives out of any situation you're in. Some of the things in life, it's not possible just to manifest the perfect fairy tale life for 24 hours a day. It's just not part of life. There's so much ups and downs and balance that we have that it's really important for us just to change our perception sometimes. And what this really does is just give you that power to do that. And like you just suggested so well there, Beck, if we're having a bad time or bad experience, even if we're doing a job that we don't like or we're engaged in activity we don't like, to be able to understand what you do like out of that task or a task that you do like in that job means that you can actually really enjoy and you can show up and focus on that. So you can actually change something, you know, a day that you don't enjoy or an experience you don't enjoy into a great positive experience just by changing your perception. Just by changing your perception, just think about and focus on the things that you really enjoy. And PH360 can really help give you some insights as to what you enjoy. And I'd love just to share quickly, Beck, about you, and this has obviously been something that's come up quite strongly for you, is that you're very creative. And for those that don't know, Bex is actually one of the creative geniuses behind PH360. She's been with us from the very start. A lot of the magic and color that you see in the system has been Bex's genius with creativity. And I'd love to just to share some of our excitement that you guys don't get to see sometimes in the fact that what you see now is really quite great. What's coming is actually even more exciting. And you guys being part of PH360 community, whether you're joining us month by month or year by year, or if you may have been lucky to get a lifetime membership, these are some amazing things coming that you've got to look forward to. So Beck, could you just maybe give us a little secret snippet into a couple of the exciting things that are coming? Because I know that you're obviously behind the scenes working on this sort of stuff all day, every day. Can you just give us drop us a couple of little hints as to what we may be able to expect coming up? Anything exciting that we can look forward to?
Sure, I can't give away too much because that would just be ruining the surprise. No, I do want to say as well, I have been with PH360 from the beginning, and it's so incredible to see where we've come from and where we are going and how it's going to completely, literally revolutionize health for everyone. It's actually going to be crazy. But sorry, getting back to those little things that are coming, we're going to have a new food dashboard very soon. And the new food dashboard will have all the old favorites, my healthy eating tips and everything else as well. But there's also going to be a menu planner. There's also going to be recipes. There will be a shopping list as well, even online meal delivery. We're also going to be incorporating a little bit later on even a restaurant selector. So it gives you details of the places in your local area who will actually be able to give you what you need for your foods. And of course, the why section is going to be coming out as well. We've got tech working on that right now. So you'll be able to click on your food and you will have your reason there, exactly why, or the reasons why you have that ranking of smileys or frownies on your food. So why you can eat that food, or why you shouldn't eat that food, or why you can eat that food sometimes. So it'll all be right there for you.
That's pretty cool. And I must just elaborate on that a little bit for everyone listening in. that's a pretty big deal, because it's been so difficult to be able to code this and to be able to get this showing up for you. Because if tomatoes are 3 frownies for 10 different people, there'll be 10 different reasons, and actually 10 different reasons for each person in 10 different people as to why they wouldn't be showing up and why you should avoid them. There's so many different things. That may be for one person that it's to do with their genetic lineage and where they're from, where their ancestry is from, that they can't eat certain foods. For another person, it may be their lifestyle and the fact that they're sedentary and not exercising enough and should be avoiding those foods because of that. For someone else, it may be because of their family history and their risk of heart disease or stroke or diabetes. There's just so many different factors that contribute towards why your foods will show up as smileys or frownies. And it's been something we've been working on for a long, long time. So we're really excited to have that available for you guys at some stage pretty soon. I think in the next, well, we won't make any promises on times anyway on this call, but I think it's coming pretty soon. And also the foods dashboard, I think, is going to be amazing for people to help interpret that information and make it easier for them to even make some decisions and get some easy outcomes. But even just on that note, Beck, would you be able to just really quickly talk us through the food section that does exist, because the foods is such an area of interest for so many people. We're going to keep this pretty brief because I know we are starting to go a little bit over time. I apologize for listeners on that, but hopefully you're finding this quite interesting and getting great value. Just quickly on the food section, because we've talked with Daniella about the why, why do these foods show up, and that's coming. We're talking today about the how. How do we actually use the foods in our daily life? And I know that you've put together a lot of great little YouTube videos that I'd encourage people to go and search for PH360 Me on YouTube. Into Google, just type in YouTube PH360 Me, and you'll see a whole heap of videos that come up that you can go and watch that you may not even be aware of, that can tell you all about different foods. And there's some great videos of Bex on there that you'll see, just helping you out with looking at different snacks and different ideas of how to use foods. But Bex, if you just give us maybe just a quick minute or two as to the foods, that would be fantastic if you can.
Sure. Basically, I just want to say that your results do change. And you can see this is my vegetables at the moment. I've got 5 smileys for potato and carrot. Yes, love it. And I, just as a brief insight as to mine, I noticed that last summer, then I had duck was my 5 smiley meat. I had pear juices 5 smiley. I had half as much dairy as I do now, and I had more egg white than egg yolk. Coming into winter now in Australia, because that's where I am at the moment, I find that I have pork high on my list, and beef is high on my list, grape juice and potatoes. All the oils are on my list, all the nuts are on my list, all the dairy is on my list. And now I have more egg yolk than egg white. So it changes as you go. And I think the biggest tips to really take into account with the food is go slowly or go as fast as you want. So if you don't want to get rid of everything to start with, then just don't. Add things into your life as you go. If you have a look at the videos online, I've got some really good, well, they're tips anyway. They're tips that lots of people have found helpful. And it's just things like, if you have been used to eating a lot of meat and now PH360 says don't eat meat for this period of time, then the easy things you can do are perhaps maybe instead of having meat every night 1 week, then have meat 3 times for the next week. And then maybe 2 times the week after that. And then maybe try some more vegetarian meals after that. So you can ease into things. You don't have to go gung-ho all or nothing when you start your PH360 or at any time during your PH360. If you're on Instagram as well, or if you're on Facebook for the PH360 Facebook page, not the group, I'll always post I'll generally do it every day. I'll just post the meal that I have. And there might be some little ideas that you get on there. Like one idea I had last week was having a vegetable soup with 5 smiley vegetables. And then we actually baked some tofu. And we put that baked tofu, because it was quite crispy, we put that baked tofu into the soup, and it was just like having soup with croutons. And I can't have any breads or gluten-free breads or anything like that. And so having something nice and crunchy in my soup, it just gave it a little bit more texture. So it was just something new that I tried. And so the more inspiration, I suppose, that you can get, the easier things are, and the more support as well. And if you're one of those people who is not so creative in the kitchen, or who stresses a little bit about food, then I would definitely recommend jump into that Facebook group, or even if you have a couple of sessions with a coach, just to make sure that you're on the right track where you get some really good ideas, or have a look on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, or follow the Instagram. The more inspiration that you can get, the better the better off it will be, or the easier, I suppose, it will be.
That's amazing, Bex. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for those that are listening, we'll try and get that link for the YouTube videos. We'll try and get that link put into the chat box for you now. Bex, just while I just noticed I'm looking at your profile. For those that can see on your screen that you've got 3 smileys for meatballs, for hamburgers, for cold cuts, for bacon, hot dog sausages. So this is probably a good thing, because I think probably most of the listeners, I would assume from the feedback we've had, would be sitting there thinking, how can I get through with eating just a short portion of vegetables and nothing else? And I'm sitting here looking at your profile with all the things that people would assume would never show up for anyone are actually on your list to be able to eat. So that's hopefully people can get some confidence again. When you are living in good health, a lot of people are able to process these sorts of foods. And again, there's quite often a period of time when your body may not need to go anywhere near these foods, and they might be on a 5 frowny list. But at this point in time, for Bex, obviously that's something that her body can manage quite well. So Bex,
just so you know, I updated the other day, so it's not anymore, but I had peanut butter as 5 smileys for about 2 months. It was awesome.
Yeah, good for you, Bex. Good for you. All right, so I see the YouTube link is coming to the chat box. Bex, I know we've run over time a little bit for the listeners, so I'd love to wrap this webinar up for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for making the time. And I believe that the guys have been able to answer questions as we go. Anything that we didn't get to, we'd love to answer on next webinars. It's just so amazing that we're able to bring this information to you. We're really enjoying these webinar series. I hope you guys are enjoying them. Please, again, give us some messages, give us some feedback on the Facebook group, on YouTube. There'll be a replay available that you can get. We'd love to hear some comments in the YouTube just to help support what we're doing and to find out if you're really enjoying this information or not. So thanks so much for dialing in. I hope that today, talking more about the how behind PH360 was really enjoyable, and to really get a much larger perspective about health and the understanding of epigenetics, and review this from all the different sections that exist. We've spent the last few webinars focusing solely on foods and the science and why. We can often get caught up in the little bits and pieces behind it all, when really we need to take a bit of a step back and say, hey, you know what? There's more to my health than just the foods I'm eating. I actually need to consider all these different areas. And I think what you've shown us there today, Beck, is how easy it is to integrate when we spend a little bit of time learning about ourselves and integrate that into our daily life. And so I guess, for those that really love what we're doing, we'd always love to just throw out there that we'd love you to get in touch with us, support at ph360.me. If you're really aligned with our mission and want to support what we're doing, we'd love to hear from you. We've got a part 3 coming up, more about the why, in the webinar, which is happening next Tuesday. There'll be a link that you'll see for that at some stage pretty soon. That should be out on email or in the Facebook group. And that's another session with Daniella. And Daniella's been asked to come and have 4 webinars with us due to how popular and how amazing the response from you has been in terms of talking about the why behind PH360. And so don't miss that one. Again, Bex, thank you so much for joining us. We're so blessed to have so many amazingly talented people and so amazingly talented souls working with us at PH360. Just a huge thank you to you and all the PH360 team. You guys are truly amazing. And more so, I guess, a huge thank you to all of you for listening. You're all amazing, taking such an amazing step forward with your health. And we really look forward to supporting you on your personal health journey so that you can support others on theirs. So thanks again, Bex, for joining us, and thanks everyone for joining us. We look forward to